about being a walk-in. Her name was Sheila. She had another name, Omnek Onyek. So it's a real contrast. You know, we're working on supercomputers and recording stuff in my other little labs there on the property, and I got a guy with a scar and a woman from Venus also staying at the property at the same time. It was very colorful. He would stay in his cabin during the day and would literally patrol the property at night. I mean, he was a night walker and would walk around, and Jim let me know that he was concerned that people were tracking him and that they would find him. And the story unfolded in, I guess, a period of a few days, that he had been a security guard at Area 51, specifically one of the labs there. S4, Area 51, all of that was just unfolding at the time. Bob Lazar and the discussions about all that were fresh. So for me, it was none of my business. They didn't report to me on a moment-to-moment what they were doing. And I don't think that if that was genuinely what was going on in his world, and he was continually on the lookout for people finding him, as could have been what those ninja footprints were later, that he would have told me what they were doing if they were going to go do something covert, because that wouldn't make sense for people to know where he was and what he was doing if there were people going to be following him or coming and doing something to us to find out where he was. So at least there's a little continuity there. But they didn't tell me what they were doing. They're doing what they need to do. I'm doing what I need to do of being a good host. But it started unfolding that he supposedly had been a security guard at the end of his career, which had included being an assassin of enemies of the United States, people that were whistleblowers or were dangerous. And he had photographs, which he did show me a couple of.
He did.
Of Polaroids of dead guys. Showed me photographs of alien in a tank, a UFO, things that could have been out of a science fiction movie, or they could have been what he said. It was just, that's what he was showing me.
What were the conditions that... Go ahead.
Well, it seemed odd that if someone really had been in these positions of authority and extreme activity, would find it necessary to convince me that he had done these things. But so be it. Maybe I seemed like someone that credibility needed to be acquired with, so I listened, and we'd talk occasionally, 5 or 10 minutes at a time.
Now, can you describe picture by picture? Do you see any of those pictures in your mind still that Connor O'Ryan showed you, John Connor at that time, to you? Do you see them in your mind at all? And can you describe the nature of them?
Well, 2 of the pictures were Polaroids, and it was of someone dead on the ground. 2 different people. I can't describe the person. It's not something I lingered on. It was obvious that the person had been, each of them was dead, and that there was blood in and around the face area. No obvious bullet entry wound that I can recall, but here are these pictures of dead people.
And what was he saying to you as he was showing these to you?
2 different things had been said. One was that his job had been to go on assignment and to take out people that were enemies of the United States, that he had assignments, and that he had to take pictures as part of that. I don't recall that being said while he was showing me the pictures. I assumed that these were pictures related to that because he said that he had many of those pictures as part of his insurance, that he was not going to be killed, and that he had other pictures and had put them in containers in various places, including one or two places on my property where he had dug holes and put these coffee cans with pictures in them. I didn't know where they were.
Have you ever combed your property to find them?
Yeah, I did, sort of. I mean, I didn't. I just looked for where. I mean, it was 90 acres, so it could have been anywhere. No, I didn't find any, and I didn't comb the property inch by inch looking. I assumed
metal detector or anything like that?
No, because I, you know, when they left, it was plenty of time for him to have gone and gotten them and retrieved them, or maybe he did leave them. I didn't assume that he had left them on my property, which is now a big development, so the bulldozers would have found them if they were left there.
In regard to the other pictures, you mentioned alien bodies. Describe all the other pictures to me one by one as you recall them, and what Connor may have said to you about them as he showed them to you. And was Jem in front of you when he was showing these, or were you one-on-one with Connor at that time?
I don't remember if Jem was there or not. And the photographs were odd looking. Like, I'm thinking these are photographs taken of video in still frame on a screen and someone shooting the photograph. Because one of the photographs I remember was a bunch of guys, and he was saying, "Look, here's Cheney, here's this guy, here's that guy, Bobby Inman, and here they all are up on the rail in the lab looking down at the body." Well, that picture could have been taken at the State Department. There was no evidence to me that that rail that they were all standing on and they were looking at something was there. Another photograph looked like a science fiction movie, a round cylinder, maybe 4 feet in diameter, with what looked like a floating fetus in it. And another photograph of a looked like a funny looking person. Couldn't make out enough detail to respond, "Oh yes, this is an alien in a work suit working in the lab underground." And I saw these pictures maybe a week, 2 weeks into his visit.
And how long did you get to study the pictures? How long did he keep them in front of you?
Yeah, I don't recall. A minute.
Each?
They were kind of all spread out. I mean, he had a lot of them.
A minute each or a minute total?
A minute total. You know, I was trying not to respond like a kid in a candy store, and I wasn't convinced that what I was looking at was what it was reported to be. I don't remember exactly what I might have felt. I just didn't take it at face value, what the guy was saying.
In retrospect now, how do you feel about this case, those events during the October, November of 1991?
Well, there's a higher sense of probability of what was said around the whole situation being closer to what was said than I might have thought back then. But by his behavior, many of the things that he did were inconsistent with someone that would have had those kind of skills and that kind of training, unless he had lost control over his functions. And there was lots of talk about he had to hear a phone call with a particular tone on it every 3 days to reactivate the subconscious programming that he had gotten, or he would forget these things, or he would behave different than he was right now, and